Alright, so this is going to be the in-depth deck building guide. We're going to start by getting the deck at default, and we were going to be going through 1, 2, and all 3 decks. So, with that being said, let's see. We're going to start by looking at every single tower and how much income that it gives for its price. And actually, I'm going to pull up a calculator and grab a notepad, actually. Alright, so we got a little notepad pulled up and a calculator, so we should be good. Is there a way to do this a little more efficiently? I guess we'll just replace that so we can see this. So that's 50 divided by 8. Dart monkey $0 $150. Actually, I am going to go through all of this really quickly and speed it up and add some music, which I will find. Alright, so we're going to do 50 divided by 8. So with that being said, let's get into that now. Alright, got Skype. We're gonna get rid of that. Okay, so I was going through all of it, and honestly, like, we can already visually see this, and just writing it down is just gonna take a bunch of time. So we're just gonna do all these mental calculations in our head, and we have a calculator here if we need it. Okay, so honestly, I'm thinking the Super Monkey Fan Club is only going to be good if you bring the 0-0 Dart Monkey, and considering it's fully RNG based, I don't think it's going to be worth it in the long haul. So we're not going to bring the 0-0 Dart Monkey or the Super Funky Man Club, but if you bring one of them, you should bring the other. That's what I'm beginning to think, and this is going to be our short map without water. And also, when I was looking at this, if you see that little blues, then it's going to be grouped, and if you see the camo, it's going to be camo. So this would be group BFBs. No? I don't know anymore. I think that's how it works. Yeah, that would make sense. Okay. So, that's the principle we're going to be going under. We can sort by tower type, tower tier, cost, owned. We're just going to go by the type. So, I think that we're going to want triple darts. We're obviously going to want a juggernaut. But I don't think we're going to want the other two. Although that is a decent rush, I feel like there's going to be better opportunities down the road. We're going to move this recording screen. Okay, so now it should be looking a little bit better, even though it's a little more awkward for me, which is fine. Alright, so you can spend. So I don't think there's a point in the 0-0 attack shooter. It does give good income for its cost, but I still don't. I want my towers to be able to pop stuff is the issue. And there's got to be a more convenient way to see this. We'll just replace that with that. $24 for 500. So yeah, that gives decent income as well, relatively speaking. The Ring of Fire, I don't think we should use it because it's not as good in mobile. That being said, the Maelstrom does have a pretty good rush for cheap. And not for cheap, but it has a pretty good rush relative, at least. And a Maelstrom could always be good and handy in niche situations. Let's just use this to replace that to check that. So yeah, this gives 40 income, 120 blue. So if they don't have good group popping power, and only cost 800, so that's one of the higher income towers in the game. So it should be worth bringing. And honestly, we're gonna need a few low tier towers to start. I do want to carry the Ricochet because it has really good group popping power. I don't even really care about this, honestly, the income section, but you know, it's there. You'll get income, and it's cheap to send, and blacks are useful. But that being said, there is the Bionic Boomer for 2400. You can send 200 greens. I don't think it's worth it though. Still, now this Glaive Lord I do think is worth it, considering it's camo. Sometimes people don't always have camo detection, and it's just worth it to have a good camo card for cheap. And a Glaive Lord, you know, that's probably about how much you'd pay realistically. But it's still good to have. And I'm just getting rid of cards we haven't went over yet. They could very well be back in here. So when I was playing testing wise, this was cheaper. I want to check something else real quick then. We'll do that when we get there, because that just scrolls way too fast. We'll do that to replace that. 40, okay, that got nerfed as well, but that's still one of the best ecos in the game. So we're still going to keep that in there, and I'll go over that eventually. Now, I would like to point out this is for short maps without water, so we're going to ignore all the water towers, so we should have more room for that. This is still very cheap for a BJ2, so we definitely want to have one of those on the party. Yeah. We have Maulers wouldn't hurt. Sabotage Supply Line. Yeah, that's a pretty good rush and a fair price for it, I'd say. We haven't went over a few of these, and once we start getting down to the bare bones stuff, the bottom of the barrel towers and stuff, that's when we're gonna start replacing when we went over, and we're gonna have to give reasons why and go through it. This is a late tier tower, and I don't see a point for it. Really, we wouldn't need it when we already have this for this much cheaper. Yeah. I want to run a Spectre, but a Ground Zero would be nice as well. I do need to keep in mind I am going to need something for rushes. I'm not even going to screw the Temple of the Monkey God. I'll just bring a Robo Monkey, due to the fact it's like one of the only high tier rushes left. But then there's also the Apache. 1 minute, let me do some comparative measures. We'll just use this. We're not going to use this on a short map. Yeah, this is fine. We'll just stick with the Robo Monkey. And for leads, oh man, I want to bring it because that's a really good income source. We'll replace the ninja and double check the ninja. That's 400 cost and it gives you 20 eco. And the ninja 17, 400, blues 55. I'd rather have a wizard, but that's just me, and it gives a higher balloon send. So we'll have a little bit of diverse balloon sends. Yeah, we have a couple tier 2, or round 3, I guess, and a couple round 1, or one and singular round 1. Yeah, we'll worry about it. Trying to figure out our rushes. We have camos, we have camo region, we got lead, zebra, camo lead. We have a Moab, we have BFBs, so that's good. Do I want to bring a Dragon's Breath? It's 4,000 cost as opposed to 2,400. Yeah, we'll put that. I don't like lightning per se. And it does have a better attack, so to speak. Okay. So yeah, this is going to be the first deck that we make. I'm not even going to screw with these. Not going to screw with those. That's not worth it. I don't think it's worth it to have even. I do want to have a Ray of Doom though. I really want to have a Ray of Doom. But we're going to do that in our long map stack. And this is a pretty standard setup is what I'm looking like. We have a pretty low tower cost, and this should suffice for any short maps. Maybe medium. We do have a good late game setup. No, here's what we're going to do. I know what we're going to do, because this does, considering we're restricted to 3 decks, we can't have a perfect deck. We're going to need a Spectre or a ground 0. We didn't really talk about Moab Mauler, but I do want a Moab send. I say we get rid of Maelstrom just because it's only an ability, and that's really situational. The ground 0 is only an ability as well, but it's a very, very, very useful ability. That gives a good balloon send. I can't see myself using wizards very much though. That being said, I would prefer the wizard over this. So that's going to be a preference thing. Yeah. Okay. So we're looking at this. We're getting close to the end of the first deck. This isn't going to be worth bringing on this build, but it might be in a future build. 200 divided by 45. 1 minute. Clear that. 4,500 divided by 200. 22.5. Why, what are you putting in there? 1 second. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Gosh darn it. Tell her not to get that one. That stuff that's really hard to get out of the bottle.
The Dove?
Yeah, Dove's literally the only bad one.
Okay, I'll tell her.
Tell her you can't get that one out of the bottle.
Okay. You're serious, dude.
I am.
Cut the bottle then.
I'm not gonna cut open a bottle of shampoo.
Cut the bottle.
Alright, I should cut that out, but I'm not gonna. Due to laziness. Feel free to make fun of me for that. I don't care. Yeah. I was also gonna stream today, but I got real busy. That's 22, so that's honestly worth having. A lot of this stuff is worth having. I don't want a Moab Mauler. I don't want a Moab Mauler. I should have a Moab Mauler. That's fine. But I just want it because you can send the Moab. I'm just looking through all this stuff right now. All this stuff is really expensive. Ooh, that's a Spike Storm would be really good as a rush. Okay. I'm gonna consider a Spike Storm an essential, and I gotta get rid of something that I would just prefer to have. We need Juggernauts. We need at least one wizard. I think we sacrifice the 2/2 boomerang. We can't sacrifice the spec. That just gives too much eco for its price. I don't even think we don't need water stuff either. So yeah, I think this is as good as we're going to get. This is also another very good tower, but I don't think it's worth it relative to the other towers available. So yeah, this is going to be deck 1. We have Juggernaut, Spectre, Triple Darts, Tack Sprayer, Bloon Jitsu, Cluster Bomb, Laser Cannon, Glaive Lord, Sabotage Supply Lines, Ground Zero, Plasma Monkey, Monkey, I don't know what you'd call it, the Fireball Wizard that's got the Intense Magic, the 1/1 Wizard, the Spike Storm, the Glaive Ricochet, and the 0/0 spec for the income. So without further ado, on to deck 2, nice and empty. So this is going to be short maps with water. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is we're going to get what I'd consider to be an essential, which is just the reactor card. None of these, I mean, Airburst Darts is the only other one that I would go with. Do not use Advanced Intel, do not use Barb Darts. Next, I would go to the boats. And honestly, I don't see a point in a Destroyer. Cannon Ship would be very good, and that gives good, decent income as well. But honestly, I think just a faster shooting is like a good starting tower is fine. That's honestly all I would really change about that. So yeah, but honestly, just having the reactor can make a big difference to how late a game can go. So yeah. We do still want to have our rush cards, so I need to go and grab that again. We'll just get all of the essentials on the way, and we will change stuff up. I'm pretty much just going to put all the really good cards on here, just as I'm going through, and then we'll change it as we get closer to the top. And if it just fills up quickly, cool. But honestly, we're going to have to be changing it. Rapid fire. A 0. Honestly, I'm going to try to put a suggestion for a 2-3 or 1-3 ace. Because that would be awesome. Because I would so use that. We want a Cluster Bomb. We want Sabotage Supply Lines. Yeah. Bloon Jitsu. That Glaive Ricochet. We do need a Tack Sprayer over that. And I do want to have a Triple Darts and Juggernauts. What can we replace? We can replace Ground Zero is going to be really good for rushes in that niche situation where it comes up, and I don't think we're going to be able to top that. Glaive Lord might be the most replaceable one. Laser Cannon, Glaive Lord getting replaced. So yeah, once we already had a deck basis, we more or less just tossing a couple towers out and adding in the more beneficial ones. Yeah. So I think that should work. That's fine. So that was 2. So honestly, the second deck wasn't going to take that long. Now the third deck, this is going to take long. We already explained all of our reasons. And honestly, if you're going to be on a water map, you want to have at least some water towers. So we have a low tier water tower, being the faster shooting boat. Although, I'm going to mention this before we go further. I would also consider using the Monkey Pirate. It gives you 4 group Moabs, cost 6,000. So it's not really the best trade compared to some of the other ones. You know, that one's a little bit better. You lose the same eco, only a little bit more, and you get 10 of them as opposed to 4 in their grouped. But the Monkey Pirate is going to be really good for sinking BFBs. But honestly, thinking about it, card battles, you're only going to have one, and you're probably going to... Never mind. Yeah, it wouldn't even be worth it compared to... Because generally, you get a Monkey Pirate to buy and resell. Okay, so yeah, that makes sense. And then we did already go over the quad darts, or airburst darts on this. So that one's also considerable. You can put that over boat if you want. I just want boat for the early starting tower. But also you could put this, say, over... You could put it over a cannon, maybe. It's around the same cost. But, you know, just each their own. This is going to be my preference. I'm going to point this out. So now let's go on to the long map. Now we have to keep in mind this is long maps. So we are going to have to go a little heavier on eco cards, a little heavier on Bloons cards, and a little less on early game cards. I really want to bring in Ray of Doom. It's got a cool rush. It's pretty cheap. I just want to bring it. It's not going to say it's necessarily the best. Hydro Rocket Pod is really good for the cost. This is really good for the cost. You can bring those if you want, but I'd rather bring the Ray of Doom out of these three, but there's not enough slots to bring all of the towers that you want / need. This, I'm going to consider this an essential for any late game. So as you can see, we're really stacking up. We're going to have really high cost towers. We're literally just going to be getting the bare bone essentials. Spectre, if it's a really long map, we can't use it as much as I love it over the ground zero. We're going to need just that ability in safe situations. We have our reactor. We are still going to need an early game tower too. Faster shooting boats are always good, and we'll just replace them with reactors later on. You always need a sabotage supply lines. We'll put a Moab Mauler in there as opposed to a cluster bomb. We'll put in our Bijitsu. You always need that Bijitsu. We need a Glaive Lord temporarily, and it's probably going to be getting replaced. We need that Glaive Ricochet. Tax Barrier is just honestly really cheap for what you get. We'll put that in there. We still want that Triple Darts, and we still want that Juggernaut. So now we're back to the point of replacing that. Yeah, once you have the first deck basis down, you just got to work stuff around that. Triple Darts are really good Moab Hopping Pile, and we already got rid of the Glaive Lord. I think these are going to be the 3 decks I'm going to main. So, I want your guys' thoughts on them, any improvement ideas, and I would also like to keep in mind, you guys did see all the prices beforehand, and, they may or may not be getting changed at any point. Everything is subject to change, as always. My deck will change if the game changes. So, I think that's, a pretty good thing. Farms I don't really see being useful in this game mode, but yeah. I think this will work, so I will see everybody in the future. I want your guys' opinions, anything I should change, but I think these are going to be the 3 decks I'm going to be running. We got a 5,800, 5,300, and then a 12,000 average. Yep. There's probably some minor tweaking you can do just based on playing, but this is what I'm going to be rolling with, so I'll see you guys next time. That's Cortana. I did say that there was a stop hotkey before, and then it worked, and then I don't know what it is now. So I'm just gonna be unprofessional. It's F10. That's what I was hitting. F10. All right. So now my stop hotkey doesn't work, and then now we're in this kind of awkward situation between us where I thought I stopped it and I didn't, and I kind of just sat there for a moment. And it's still recording now. So yeah. My bad. I'll see you guys next time once again. I said that a lot. That I'm dumb.